Tim Maxwell, Shannon's videotaping Richard, a Vietnam vet, Army, but we still like him. We've been working on the farm, the Semper
5 farm.
Semper 5 farm here, and we have no power in our sheep shed. And the whole time, in the winter time, we really needed heaters and lights to be in here, so we've been running cords down here, probably a dozen total. So they came up, Richard and his buddy,
James,
laughing at the sheep. James drove all the way up here, 10 hours straight through, went to work in less than 24 hours and knocked it out. And we're going to have Richard show us what they did and what it'll do for us. This may help you if you want to put a power line inside a building you built. And by the way, if you didn't know this, all these buildings were built all by vets or vets family. Mostly combat vets, and a couple of us, one of the guys built it. So all vets building everything on this farm. All right, so tell us.
all right, first we had to run power down. First thing we did was find out what all they were using and what all they needed. With what they were using, we well over doubled what they needed down here for expansion or extras, or maybe down the road addition, that they wouldn't have to bring anything else in. So it's all underground, main feed. We put a panel box with breakers and stuff in it. Labeled them. We ourselves went ahead and designated building 1, building 2, wrote building 2 here just for anybody coming in and not knowing. We also separated each circuits. So for instance, inside, we have outlets inside. Back again, they only had 1 or 2. We put quad boxes in there. Now they should not have an issue whatsoever with having the outlets. Same thing with building 1, building 2, we did the same thing as far as outlets go. We tried to double more than what they would need. We added lights, and we added lights separately. We got lights just for building 1 if that's where they're at. Lights for 2 if that's just where they're at, or they can go right ahead, turn them all on. We also put designated outlets on the outside so they wouldn't have to go into it if they needed something on the outside. Okay? Obviously,
Let's take a look at them and see.
Sure. Now, and this happens to be building 2, there's word label on them, and they needed power for each stall that they had. So we put a quad box where they got 2 for this to run whatever's needed, 2 outlets there. Same thing for here, we got 2 separate stalls. We separated so they could have at least 2 per stall. We added lights. We put lights at each side or bright and nest. We brought them down a little bit to be able to give light on the outside. And we put them near the poles to try to keep any head bumping going on.
So this sheds, not sheds, what are these things called?
Well, I'm just calling them buildings because I don't know.
What are these called here? These
Stalls.
Yeah, sorry, the stalls is where you put the baby and the newborns, which always happens around March, and March is always cold as shit, and, sorry, March is where it's cold always and snows a lot. So we have to warm them up, or the babies, we've learned the hard way, the baby sheep won't survive. Okay? All right. Next, let's look at the other side. They're a bit different, or are they exactly the same?
Just a little bit. Only really on this side here is pretty well set up the same way as that side, with one exception. They're going to have water and stuff over here, so we put an outlet right above it where they could warm the water or whatever else they may need. Okay.
All right, so the hard part for me, I think, is the wiring itself. Mentally, you have to figure out what you're going to do and lay it all out before you start. And that's what we did. Literally drew the pictures, and Richard's a real experienced man at this as his career, and that's what he's done always. We never could have done that. The easy part was done by me, the dumb grunt, and his son, the dumb Marine.
Oh no, that was a world of help.
And we dug a hole on the ground. Now we've covered it. I should have showed it to you, but I was so covered in sweat and mud, I couldn't actually videotape that. So we had to dig a hole, a line up. The power line goes up to the barn. So we show you kind of how you connect and connect into the pipe.
Yep.
Okay, here we are at the, I know what's called the parking lot, basically, and you can see where the power line comes out of the ground. That's what Richard wanted to do, and run alongside and we're good to pipe. All right, so we set it up, go straight in. And what kind of wire we run in it?
We went direct burial.
So you got
Wire.
to push it one here.
And then we went ahead and covered it up here when we know we had to go inside the building from the side.
So what kind of wire it is? Again, say it again. What kind of
Direct
wire?
burial is what we used for this. That's so that we could run it down to the sheds. And we were able to run it inside of the piping to protect it here instead of trying to dig where it would be very awkward to be able to get in. So we went ahead and brought it down. We located the inside where the panel box was, the main one, which took a little bit of testing because that's about 8 inches we had to drill to be able to get wired through it and then up to the box. We took for out here and added lighting. We took an existing that had a box on it. We went ahead, got our main power. These bulbs and stuff are only going to pull about 2 amps, 3 amps at the most. So there was no problem using that. It was the right size wire that would carry that in down there. We went ahead and they wanted a light switch over here. So, well, it worked. Anyway, and now you see where our lights are. That should be more than adequate for what he puts in here and what he does in here. The good thing is we could add if you needed more, but I can't imagine you would need any more.
Okay, let's go and look in the inside. I did the lights inside. Shannon actually hung them up, and I placed them in, and they're terrible. They're terrible. I can't see enough at nighttime. So I didn't know what I was doing. Never done before. Shannon did never do before. But the point is, we did it. Could have been better, yes. Could have been safer, yes. But we did it. Now we got professionals, and now it's all perfect. So don't blame those lights on Richard.
All right. From the outside, we had to get to the power, the main panel box, in order to get to sheds. We had to drill through. This was all jagged up. We couldn't reach in, but we could see in a little bit. So James went ahead and squared it off. I started it just so we could get the job done. He came in and finished, put a panel and stuff in. Over here, they're going to pick up some what's referred to as blanks to put in to fill in where there's not a breaker for the safety issue. Labeled off where the power is for the sheep sheds down there, made notes here, made notes here. The lighting for the parking for the tractors and stuff, made a note and a number and a mark there also. So now everything is covered protection wise in use.
All right. We can't take you enough for you, Richard and James. Thank God I have a TBI. I'd never get away with this. I remember people's names. I've heard it 27 times. So hope you can come sometime and see what we've done. And remember, if you do, bring boots, because there's sheep poop everywhere.